The pink balloons were still floating toward the ceiling when I read the words, probability of paternity 0.0%. My wife was 4 months pregnant. I'd been across the state when that baby was conceived. 150 people were watching. Let me back up. My name is Ryan Sawyer. I'm the head football coach at Millbrook High School in Kansas. Population 4,200. The kind of town where everybody knows your business before you do, where Friday night lights aren't just games, they're church. And for 10 years, I'd been the guy who turned a losing program into back-to-back state champions. Today was supposed to be a celebration. Gender reveal party at the community center, pink decorations everywhere, streamers, cupcakes with little footballs, balloons tied to every chair. My wife Melissa had planned the whole thing. She was glowing. 4 months pregnant at 35, art teacher at the elementary school, everybody's favorite cheerleading coach. Standing at the microphone in a pink dress, laughing, thanking everyone for coming. We're so blessed, she was saying. Ryan and I can't wait to meet our... That's when the courier walked in. FedEx overnight. The guy looked uncomfortable, scanning the crowd for me. I was standing by the cake table wearing my championship ring, the one with the red garnet stone, Millbrook's color, gold band, heavy on my finger. State Champions 2023 engraved on the outside. I'd worn it every single day for 2 years. It clinked against my whistle lanyard when I moved. That sound, every kid on my team could recognize it from 50 yards away. The courier spotted me. Ryan Sawyer, need a signature? I signed. Melissa was still talking, something about nursery colors. I tore open the envelope. That stiff cardboard makes a specific sound, a pop when you break the seal. The lab papers inside smelled like chemicals, clinical, cold, Quest Diagnostics, medical grade paper thick enough that it didn't tear when my hands started shaking. I read it once, read it again. Probability of paternity 0.00%, 0.00%, not 1%, not unlikely. 0. The number doesn't lie. People were still applauding. Someone handed me a cupcake. The big white box in the center of the room, the one we'd spent hours decorating, Baby Sawyer 2026 in glitter letters, was about to release its balloons. Pink or blue, boy or girl. Pink balloons started floating up, 50 of them, maybe more. Rubber smell mixing with frosting. Everyone cheering. I looked across the room. Jake Morrison was standing by the punch bowl, my assistant coach, defense coordinator, 32 years old. I'd hired him 2 years ago when he moved here from Oklahoma. Gave him a shot when nobody else would. Taught him everything I knew about coaching defense. Our eyes met, and I knew he knew that I knew. His face went white. He set down his cup, started moving toward the door. Excuse me, I said to the person next to me. Didn't recognize who. My vision had tunneled. I walked to the front. Melissa was still holding the microphone, smiling, posing for photos with the pink balloons floating around her head like a halo. I took the microphone from her hand. Everyone needs to stop, I said. My voice was calm, too calm, the kind of quiet that's worse than yelling. Right now, this baby, I held up the paper, this baby is not mine. The room went silent. Phones started coming out, cameras, recording. Thank you for coming, I said. But this event is over. Please leave. Melissa's face had drained of all color. Her mouth was open, but no sound was coming out. Her hands were shaking. People started gathering their things, whispering, but not leaving fast enough. Staring. Travis Garrett, my offensive coordinator and best friend since college, moved to the door. He's 40, built like he still plays linebacker. He wasn't letting anyone film this on their way out. Jake was already halfway to the exit. Jake, I called out, not loud, just his name. He froze. Don't, I said. He looked at me, then at Melissa, then he ran. Actually ran. Out the door, into the parking lot. The community center was clearing out now. Families with kids, players from my team looking confused, church ladies clutching their purses. The pink balloons were still bouncing against the ceiling. The cake sat there untouched. "Congratulations," written in pink frosting. I looked at Melissa. She was crying, mascara running down her face. "Ryan, I can explain." "Don't," I said. "Not here, not now." I turned and saw Amber, my daughter, 16 years old, varsity cheer captain, junior at the high school. She was wearing her red and white cheerleading jacket, the one with Sawyer embroidered on the back in white script. She'd earned that captain position, worked her ass off for it. She was staring at me, at her mother, at the paper in my hand. "Dad," her voice was small. "Go to Bailey's house," I told her. "I'll call you later." "But what?" "Amber, please, go to Bailey's." She looked at her mother one more time. Then she grabbed her purse and left. The room was almost empty now, just Travis standing by the door. Earl Patterson, my high school principal, 63, the man who'd coached me when I played here 25 years ago, was still sitting in the back row. He hadn't moved. Melissa was standing there in her pink dress, arms wrapped around herself. "Ryan, please, we need to talk." "You need to leave," I said. "I don't care where you go, but you need to leave right now." She opened her mouth, closed it, looked around at the pink decorations, the balloons, the cake. Then she grabbed her purse and walked out. The door closed behind her. I stood there in that empty community center. Pink balloons against the ceiling, pink streamers, pink everything. The championship ring on my finger suddenly felt too heavy. I sat down in one of the folding chairs. The metal was cold through my jeans. Someone had left a half-eaten cupcake on the table, pink frosting with a little fondant football on top. Travis walked over, pulled out the chair next to me, sat down without saying anything. Earl made his way down from the back. His knees don't work like they used to, but he was here. He sat on my other side. None of us said anything for maybe 2 minutes. Finally, Earl spoke. "How long have you known?" 2 weeks, I said. I found texts on her phone, late-night messages. I ordered the test without telling her. "The baby—" "October," I said. "She got pregnant in October. Championship celebration trip. I took the team to Kansas City for the awards banquet. She said she had a migraine, stayed home." Travis let out a long breath. "Jake." "Jake," I confirmed. Earl leaned forward, elbows on his knees. He looked at the championship ring on my finger. Then he looked at me. "Those 67 boys report to practice at 6 a.m. tomorrow," he said. "You gonna be there, or you gonna let Jake Morrison's choices destroy what you built?" I looked down at the ring. State champions, 10 years of work, early mornings, late nights, missing dinners, missing anniversaries, teaching kids about integrity, about commitment, about not quitting on your team. Champions don't quit on their team. I'd said that phrase 1,000 times, painted it on the locker room wall, made it our team motto. My wife was 4 months pregnant with another man's baby. My assistant coach, the guy I'd trusted with half my defensive playbook, had been sleeping with her. And in 12 hours, I had to face 67 teenage boys and teach them about character. "I don't know if I can," I said quietly. Earl reached over and tapped the ring on my finger. "That represents 10 years of real work. Don't let 10 minutes of truth destroy what that ring means. Those boys need you tomorrow. Hell, they need you more now than they did yesterday." I pulled off my whistle. The red lanyard, the Silver Fox 40 I'd blown at 1,000 practices. I set it on the table. "What if I can't blow that whistle tomorrow? What if I stand there and my hand won't move?" Travis picked up the whistle, turned it over in his hands. "Then I'll blow it. And the day after that, maybe you will. But you show up. That's all you gotta do tomorrow. Show up." I sat there staring at that whistle on the table. The pink balloons were starting to deflate, falling slowly from the ceiling. Earl stood up, groaning as his knees protested. "I'm calling an emergency school board meeting. Jake's contract has a morality clause. He won't be on that field tomorrow." "What about me?" I asked. "I'm the guy who couldn't keep his own house in order." "You're the guy who showed up today and told the truth," Earl said. "That's more integrity than most men show in a lifetime. Now go home, get some sleep if you can. 6 a.m. comes early." They left. The maintenance guy was waiting by the door, keys in hand. He nodded at me. Tom Baker, father of 3, his oldest son on my offensive line. "Coach," he said quietly, "we're with you." I nodded, couldn't speak. I walked out into the August heat. The parking lot was empty except for my truck, a blue F-150, 10 years old, with the Millbrook football logo on the back window. I got in. The vinyl seats were hot from sitting in the sun. I didn't start the engine. I just sat there looking at that community center. Through the windows, I could see pink balloons on the floor now, deflated. The gender reveal party that revealed something else entirely. My phone was buzzing, texts, calls. I turned it off. How do you coach young men about integrity and commitment when your wife and assistant coach destroyed both? And the whole town was watching. I finally started the truck, drove home on autopilot. Our house was at the end of Maple Street, white 2-story, needed painting. The wooden yard sign was planted in the front lawn. Proud Millbrook football family, hand-painted in blue and gold, our school colors. Melissa's car wasn't there. I went inside. The house was quiet, too quiet. Amber's cheerleading stuff was scattered on the couch, pom-poms, hair ties, the spirit handbook. The TV was still on, some show neither of us had been watching before we left. I walked upstairs, stood outside Amber's room. Her door was covered in photos, her and her friends, her and Melissa, her and me after games. The big team photo from last year's championship was tacked to her bulletin board. 67 players, 4 coaches. Jake was in the back row, smiling. I needed to take that down before she got home. My phone, still off, sat heavy in my pocket. I knew when I turned it on, there'd be messages, questions, advice, judgment, but not tonight. Tonight, I just stood there in my empty house, championship ring still on my finger, and tried to figure out how to show up tomorrow at 6 a.m. and blow a whistle like my whole world hadn't just collapsed. The thing is, I knew I would. Because Travis was right, Earl was right. Champions don't quit on their team. Even when your team is 67 teenage boys who need you to show them that integrity matters more than a perfect marriage. That showing up matters more than not being broken. I went to bed with my clothes on, didn't sleep, just stared at the ceiling and counted down the hours until practice. At 5:45 a.m., I stood in my empty driveway. The sun wasn't up yet. My truck's headlights were the only light on Maple Street. I was wearing my coaching gear, Millbrook red polo, khaki shorts, the whistle around my neck. Travis had left it on my porch sometime during the night. The championship ring was still on my finger. I got in the truck and drove to the high school. The parking lot was filling up. Players arriving in their beat-up Hondas and hand-me-down trucks. I could see them watching my truck pull in, watching me get out. Tyler Bennett, my team captain, 17, 6'2", quarterback with a scholarship offer to Kansas State, was standing by the gate. He was early, always early. I walked toward the practice field. Tyler fell into step beside me. "Coach," he said, "we don't know what to say, but we're here, whatever you need." 17 years old, teaching me about loyalty. I nodded, couldn't speak yet. We walked onto the field. The grass was still wet with dew. The rest of the team was stretching. 67 boys. Some looking at me, some looking away. Travis was already there. He nodded, held up a whistle, but I reached for mine. I put it to my lips, and I blew. The sound cut across the field, sharp, clear, unmistakable. Practice started, we ran drills, I called plays. My voice was hoarse, but it worked. The boys responded, ran their routes, hit their blocks. Nobody asked questions, nobody brought it up. But after practice, Tyler approached me again. "Coach, can we talk? The team wants you to know..." He paused. "My dad cheated on my mom when I was 12. Wrecked our family. You know what my dad did? He blamed my mom. blamed his job, blamed everyone but himself. You just told the truth. You stood there in front of the whole town and told the truth. That's more integrity than most adults ever show. I looked at this kid, this 17-year-old kid who was holding his team together because his coach was falling apart. "Thank you," I managed. "We're playing for you, coach," Tyler said, "every single game." If you've ever had someone show up for you when you felt most alone, someone who didn't have to but chose to anyway, just drop a football emoji in the comments. Sometimes the smallest acts of loyalty carry us through the darkest moments. That afternoon, I went home. Melissa still hadn't come back. I called Amber. "Can we talk?" I asked. "I'm at Bailey's," she said. Her voice was flat. "I can come pick you up. We can get dinner, just you and me." Silence, then, "Okay." I drove to Bailey's house. Amber was waiting on the porch. She got in the truck without looking at me. Her cheerleading jacket was zipped up even though it was 90 degrees. We drove to the diner on Main Street, ordered burgers neither of us would eat. "I need to tell you what happened," I said. "I saw what happened," she said. Everyone saw. "Amber, was any of it real, Dad?" She finally looked at me. Her eyes were red. "Any of it? Was Mom ever really happy? Were you? Or has this whole thing been fake?" I reached across the table. She didn't pull her hand away. "You were real," I said. "You are real. That's the only thing I know for sure." She started crying. Not loud. Quiet. The kind that's worse because she was trying not to. "Everyone at school is going to know," she whispered. "Everyone's going to be talking about it, about us, about Mom. I can't go back there." "Yes, you can," I said, "because you're a Sawyer, and Sawyers don't quit." She pulled her hand away. "Don't give me a football speech, Dad, not now." I sat back. She was right. This wasn't a locker room. These weren't plays I could diagram. "I don't know what to tell you," I admitted. "I don't know how to make this better. School starts in 5 days. The whole town's going to be talking. It's going to be hard. But I'm going to be there, and you're going to be there, and we're going to get through it because we have to." She wiped her eyes. "I can't wear my jacket." "What?" "My cheerleading jacket. It says Sawyer on the back. I can't wear it to school. Everyone will..." "That jacket has your name on it because you earned it," I interrupted. "You earned captain. You earned that state championship patch. Your mother's choices don't get to take that away from you. You understand me? Don't let her steal what you built." Amber stared at her burger. Then she nodded, just barely. We drove home in silence. When I pulled into the driveway, I noticed the yard sign. Someone had spray painted it, red paint across proud Millbrook football family. I couldn't make out the words, but the intent was clear. Amber saw it too. Her face crumpled. "Come on," I said. "Let's go inside." That night, I lay in bed, alone for the first time in 18 years, and stared at the championship ring on my finger. How do you keep coaching young men about integrity and commitment when your wife and assistant coach destroyed both, and the whole town is watching? I still didn't have an answer, but tomorrow I'd show up again, because that's what champions do. The next morning, Earl called me into his office at 7 a.m. School didn't start for another 4 days, but the building was already buzzing. Summer football camp meant coaches and players everywhere. His office smelled like coffee and old books. 20 years of principal duties packed into filing cabinets and framed photos of championship teams. My team photo from 2023 was on his wall right next to his desk. "Sit," he said. I sat. Travis was already there, and Jennifer Kim, the school board president, 42, lawyer in town, 3 kids, 2 of them played for me, and Beth Morrison, 29, teaching aide at the elementary school, Jake's younger sister. She looked like she'd been crying. Her hands were shaking around a coffee cup. "Beth came to me this morning," Earl said. "Tell him what you told me." Beth wouldn't look at me. She stared at her coffee. "I'm sorry, Coach Sawyer," she whispered. I'm so sorry. I should have said something earlier. I didn't know how. Said something about what? I asked. She took a shaky breath. Jake. He did this before. In Oklahoma. That's why he left. That's why he moved here 2 years ago. The air went out of the room. What do you mean he did this before? Jennifer asked. Beth finally looked up. Her eyes were red. Another coach's wife, at his last school. The head coach there, Jake, was his assistant. They were friends. The coach trusted him. And Jake, she trailed off, wiped her eyes. The affair lasted 8 months. When the coach found out, he tried to handle it quietly, thought it was a mistake. But then Jake did it again, with someone else. The school board forced him to resign. He moved here to start over. My hands were gripping the armrests of my chair so hard my knuckles were white. You knew this, I said quietly. When I hired him, you knew. I found out after, Beth said. He told me he'd changed, that it was different here, that he was going to do better. I wanted to believe him. He's my brother. Her voice broke. I'm so sorry. I should have told you. I should have warned you. Earl leaned forward. This changes things legally. It establishes a pattern. Jennifer? Jennifer nodded. The school board is meeting this afternoon. Emergency session. Jake's contract has a morality clause. With this information, termination is straightforward. But Ryan, there's more. More? I've been reviewing credit card statements, school credit card. Jake's had access to it for team travel expenses. She pulled out a folder, opened it. There are charges to the Holiday Inn Express in Kansas City. 7 separate occasions over the past 4 months, always on Tuesdays. I have counseling on Tuesdays, I said slowly, with couples at church, 7 to 9 p.m. I know, Jennifer said. Jake knew your schedule. The hotel keycard, room 412. It wasn't just October. It was every week. Every Tuesday while I was trying to save other people's marriages, my assistant coach was in a hotel room with my wife. Melissa had kept one keycard, like a souvenir. Travis saw my face. Ryan. I'm fine, I said. My voice didn't sound fine. Earl stood up. School board meeting is at 3 p.m. Jake's termination will be official by 4. He won't be allowed on school property. We'll have security escort him if needed. Where is he now? I asked. We don't know, Earl admitted. He's not answering calls, not at his apartment. Good, I said. Keep it that way. I left the office, walked down the hallway. My footsteps echoed on the linoleum. The trophy case was full of our championships. Photos of teams I'd coached, kids I'd taught, a decade of work. I found myself standing outside the coach's office. Our office, mine and Jake's and Travis's. The door was unlocked. Jake's desk was on the left. Still had his coffee mug sitting there. Best defense wins, printed on the side. His defensive playbook binder was on the shelf. Red, 3 inches thick, Millbrook red. I picked it up. The metal rings made a sound like handcuffs clicking when I opened it. Inside were 10 years of defensive plays, laminated diagrams in blue and black marker, plastic sheet protectors that stuck together when you tried to turn them. It smelled like dry erase marker and late nights. Every page represented hours of work, schemes I'd developed, plays we'd perfected. This was my defense, my system. I'd taught Jake everything. I turned a page, and there in the margin next to a cover 2 scheme was handwriting that wasn't Jake's. Melissa's handwriting. T, your solo made me feel alive again. I turned another page. Can't wait for next Tuesday. Same place? Another. V, you make me feel like I matter. They'd written love notes in my playbook, in the margins of defensive schemes, disguised as coaching notes for months. Every play I'd taught with pride, every scheme we'd run, contaminated. I turned more pages, the notes were everywhere, dates, times, coded messages I would never have noticed unless I was looking. The hotel keycard date, October 18th, matched a note. KC, trip tonight. Can't wait to have the whole night. That was championship celebration night. I'd been giving a speech to 500 people, accepting an award. They'd been 15 floors above in a hotel room, using my championship night for their betrayal. I threw the binder against the wall. It hit with a crash, pages scattering across the floor. Travis appeared in the doorway. "Ryan, they used my playbook," I said. My voice sounded strange, too high. They turned my life's work into their secret diary. Travis walked over, looked at the pages on the floor, picked one up, read it. His jaw tightened. "How long?" I asked. "How long were they doing this?" Travis picked up more pages, checking dates. 8 months, maybe longer. 8 months. The entire season. Championship run. Every practice, every game, every team meeting where Jake stood next to me and called defensive plays. "I didn't see it," I said. "I was so focused on the team, on winning, on being the perfect coach with the perfect family, that I didn't see my assistant coach was sleeping with my wife in my own playbook." "This isn't your fault." "I put football first," I interrupted. "Melissa was right about that. I put this team, this program, this town ahead of my own marriage. I missed dinners, missed anniversaries, I stopped. I was so busy teaching other people's kids about integrity that I lost my own family. Travis grabbed my shoulders, forced me to look at him. "Listen to me," he said. "You didn't make Melissa cheat. You didn't make Jake betray you. They made those choices. Yeah, you worked hard. Yeah, you sacrificed. But that doesn't give them permission to destroy you. You understand me?" I nodded, but I wasn't sure I believed it. "Come on," Travis said. "Let's get out of here. School board meeting's in an hour." "I'm not going," I said. "Ryan." "I don't need to watch them fire him. I just need him gone." I looked at the scattered pages. My defensive playbook, ruined. "I need to go home." I drove home. The vandalized yard sign was still there. Someone, Tom Baker maybe, or one of the neighbors, had tried to clean it, but you could still see the red paint underneath. Amber's car was in the driveway. She was home. I went inside, found her in her room, lying on her bed, staring at the ceiling. Her cheerleading jacket was hanging on her door. The team photo had been taken down from her bulletin board, thrown in the trash. "Hey," I said from the doorway. "Hey." "Can I come in?" She shrugged. I sat on the edge of her bed, noticed her phone was face down on the nightstand, probably to stop seeing notifications. "School starts in 4 days," I said. "I know." "You gonna be ready?" She finally looked at me. "Are you?" Fair question. "I don't know," I admitted, "but I'm gonna try." "Everyone's talking about it," she said quietly. "On Instagram, on TikTok, someone filmed part of the party. It's everywhere. Coach finds out wife cheated at gender reveal. 200,000 views. My stomach dropped. "Amber, and the comments," she continued. Her voice was shaking now. "They're calling Mom all these names. They're calling you..." She stopped. "They're making jokes about our family, about you not knowing, about the baby." I reached for her hand. She let me take it. "I can't go back there, Dad," she whispered. "I can't walk into that school and face everyone. I can't wear that jacket with our name on it. I can't..." She broke into sobs. "Was any of it real? Any of it? Was Mom ever really happy? Were we ever really a family?" I pulled her into my chest, let her cry. Her whole body was shaking. "You were real," I said. My voice was rough. "You are real. Your childhood, every game I coached while you cheered on the sidelines, every dinner we had together, every birthday party, that was real. Your mother's choices now don't change what we had then. You understand? Don't let her take your memories. Don't let her take who you are." "But everyone knows," she sobbed. "Everyone at school, all my friends, the whole cheer squad. How do I face them?" I held her tighter. "The same way I'm facing my team. One day at a time, one practice at a time. We show up. We do our best. We don't quit." She pulled back, looked at me with red, swollen eyes. Don't give me a football speech. I'm not, I said. I'm giving you the truth. The only thing I know how to do is show up, even when it's hard, even when it hurts, even when everyone's watching. So that's what we're going to do. She wiped her eyes, looked at her cheerleading jacket hanging on the door. That jacket has your name on it because you earned it, I said. Captain, state championship, first place at regionals. Your mom didn't earn that. You did. Don't let her take it away. Amber stared at the jacket for a long moment. Then she nodded. Okay, she whispered. I kissed the top of her head. I love you, baby. Love you too, Dad. I left her room, went downstairs, made coffee I wouldn't drink, stood in the kitchen staring at nothing. My phone buzzed. Earl. It's done. School board voted unanimously. Jake's terminated, effective immediately. Security's at his apartment now. He has 24 hours to leave town. Good, I said. There's one more thing, Earl said. The team wants to talk to you. Tonight, 7 p.m. in the locker room, no coaches, just them. They want to meet among themselves first. My stomach tightened. About what? I don't know, Earl admitted, but Tyler called me, said the team needs to make a decision. About me, I said. Earl didn't answer, didn't need to. Okay, I said, I'll be there. At 6:30, I drove to the high school. The parking lot was full. All 67 players were there. I could see them through the locker room windows, sitting on benches, standing in groups, talking. I waited in my truck, watched the clock. 6:45, 6:50, 6:55. At 7 p.m., my phone rang. Tyler. Coach, we're ready. You can come in. I got out of the truck, walked across the parking lot. My legs felt heavy. The championship ring on my finger felt heavy. Everything felt heavy. I pushed open the locker room door. 67 boys were sitting in complete silence, looking at me. I stopped in the doorway, waited. Tyler stood up, team captain, the kid who'd shown up for me when no one else knew what to say. Coach, he said, we took a vote. My heart stopped. We know what happened. We know about Coach Morrison and Mrs. Sawyer. We know people are talking. We know it's going to be hard going into the season with everyone watching. I nodded, couldn't speak. So we took a vote, Tyler continued, about whether we still want you as our coach, whether we can respect a man whose wife... He stopped, changed direction. Whether we can learn from someone who... He was struggling, I could see it, 17 years old, trying to find words for something he shouldn't have to understand. Another player stood up, Marcus Webb, sophomore linebacker. His voice was quieter. My dad cheated on my mom when I was 12, Coach. Wrecked our whole family. You know what my dad did when Mom found out? He blamed her. Said she let herself go. Said she didn't appreciate him. Said it was her fault he had to look somewhere else. Marcus looked right at me. You stood in front of 150 people and told the truth. You didn't blame your wife. You didn't make excuses. You told the truth, even though it hurt, even though everyone was watching. My dad never did that. Most adults never do that. Tyler nodded. We talked for an hour about respect, about integrity, about what you've taught us for the past 2 years, or 10 years for some of us, about what it means to be a man, to lead, to do the right thing, even when it costs you everything. He paused. Coach, we voted 67-0. We want you to stay. We need you to stay. You taught us that integrity means doing what's right even when no one's watching. But you showed us that integrity also means telling the truth even when everyone is watching. My throat closed up. I couldn't breathe. We're playing for you this season, Coach, Tyler said. Every single game, not because you have a perfect life, but because you showed us what real integrity looks like. 67 boys stood up, one by one. In complete silence, I tried to speak, couldn't, just nodded. Tyler walked over, held out his hand. I shook it. We got you, Coach, he said quietly. Whatever you need. The team filed out, back to their cars, back to their lives. I stood in that empty locker room, championship ring still on my finger, and cried for the first time since the gender reveal party. Not because I was sad, because 17-year-old boys just taught me more about loyalty than I'd learned in 38 years of life. I drove home. It was almost 9 p.m. Dark. The house was empty again. Amber was at Bailey's. I didn't know where Melissa was. Didn't care. I grabbed a beer from the fridge, went out to my truck, drove, found myself at the high school football stadium, Millbrook Lions, capacity 2,500. Every Friday night, this place was packed. I'd coached 100 games here, won most of them, lost some, taught thousands of lessons about work ethic and teamwork and perseverance. I parked, walked through the gate. It was unlocked, always was during summer. Walked across the field. The grass was cool in the dark. Sat in the bleachers, home side, section where Amber cheered. From here, I could see everything. The field where we'd won 2 championships. The scoreboard that still had last season's final score, 42-14. The equipment shed where I stored all the gear. The coach's box where I'd spent Friday nights calling plays. 10 years of my life in this stadium. I took off my championship ring, held it up to the moonlight. The red stone caught what little light there was. State champions, 2023, gleamed dull gold. What did this ring mean now? Was any of it real if I was too blind to see my marriage falling apart? Was I a good coach if I couldn't see betrayal happening in my own playbook? Did this ring mean anything if... Thought I'd find you here. I turned. My father was walking across the field, 66 years old, hands still calloused from farm work. He'd driven 30 miles to find me. Dad, I said, what are you doing here? Your brother called me, said you weren't answering your phone. He climbed up the bleachers, groaned as his knees protested, sat down next to me. You okay? No, I said honestly. He looked out at the field. Your mama, God rest her, she'd tell you the same thing I'm about to say. I waited. Pain like this, he said slowly. It teaches you who you are, son, not who you pretend to be, not who you wish you were, who you actually are when everything else is stripped away. He pointed at the ring in my hand. That ring. You think it means championships, winning, perfect seasons? He shook his head. That ring means you showed up every day for 10 years, through heat and cold and rain, through injuries and losses and kids who didn't believe in themselves. You showed up and you taught them how to be men. That's what that ring means. I failed my wife, I said. Your wife failed you, he corrected. Your wife and that boy you trusted. They made their choices. You didn't make those choices for them. But I was never home. I put football first. You worked hard, Dad interrupted. You sacrificed. You built something good in this town. That doesn't give her permission to betray you. That doesn't make what she did your fault. He paused. You're a good man, Ryan. You're not perfect, but you're good. And those boys down there, they see that. That's why they voted to keep you. I looked at the ring again. I don't know if I can do this, I admitted. I don't know if I can stand on that field and teach kids about commitment and character when I feel like a fraud. You're not a fraud, Dad said firmly. A fraud would have run. A fraud would have quit. A fraud would have blamed everyone else. You stood there at that party and told the truth. You showed up to practice the next morning. You're showing up now. He squeezed my shoulder. You're not a quitter, son. You're a Sawyer. And Sawyers don't quit when things get hard. We show up. We do the work. We take care of our own. His hands were shaking. I noticed for the first time the tremor he'd been hiding. Dad, your heart. My heart's fine, he said. The stress isn't helping, but I'm fine. What I'm not fine with is you sitting here questioning everything good you've ever done because 2 people made bad choices. He stood up, groaned again. Now get up, go home, get some sleep. Those boys need you at practice tomorrow. Your daughter needs you. This town needs you. What if I fail them? Then you fail, he said simply, but you fail trying, not hiding. He walked back across the field to his truck, left me sitting there. I stayed for another hour, alone, staring at the field. Then I put the championship ring back on my finger and I went home. Ryan had a choice. Stay and coach through the scandal, face 67 boys and this whole town knowing his humiliation. Risk Amber's senior year becoming about her parents' failure, or resign. Protect his daughter from the spotlight. Start over somewhere no one knows their names. If you were Ryan, what would you do? Type stay. If you'd face it, type resign if you protect your daughter and leave. I want to know what you'd choose, because tomorrow morning I'd have to decide. And the whole town was waiting. The next morning I made my decision. I called Earl. Schedule a team meeting today, 3 p.m. I need to talk to them. You sure? He asked. Yeah, I said, I'm sure. At 2:45, I walked into the locker room. 67 boys were already there, sitting on benches, standing against lockers, waiting. Travis was there too, in the back, giving me space. I stood in front of them, picked up my whistle from where it hung on my office door, the red lanyard, the Silver Fox 40, 10 years of practices, of lessons, of building young men. I blew it once, sharp, clear. Everyone went silent. Sit, I said. They sat. I took a breath. This was it. Full truth. No more hiding. I'm going to tell you everything, I said, because you deserve the truth. All of it. Not rumors, not gossip. The truth. I looked around the room. These kids, my kids, were leaning forward, listening. 3 weeks ago, I found text messages on my wife's phone, late at night. Messages that shouldn't have been there. I didn't confront her. I ordered a paternity test instead. Had to wait 2 weeks for results. I paused. You all know what happened at the gender reveal party. The test came back. 0% probability that baby is mine. My wife was having an affair with Coach Morrison. Had been for 8 months, maybe longer. Some of the boys looked down. Some looked at each other. Tyler kept his eyes on me. I failed as a husband, I continued. I put this team first, put football first. Missed dinners, missed anniversaries, missed the signs that my marriage was falling apart. I was so focused on teaching you guys about integrity that I lost sight of my own life. Marcus Webb, the sophomore who'd spoken yesterday, raised his hand. Coach, that doesn't make it your fault. No, I agreed. It doesn't. Their choices, Coach Morrison's and my wife's choices, those are on them. But my choices are on me, and I chose football over my family. That's my failure to own. I held up my championship ring. Let them see it. This ring. I've worn it with pride for 2 years. State champions. But the night we won this championship, the night we celebrated in Kansas City, my wife and Coach Morrison were in a hotel room together. They used my championship night for their betrayal. The room was completely silent. I found their notes in Coach Morrison's playbook, I said, in the margins, next to defensive schemes. They turned my life's work into their secret diary for months. I saw some of the boys' faces harden, anger on my behalf. The school board terminated Coach Morrison yesterday. He's gone. He won't be coaching again. Not here, not anywhere I can reach. I paused. But I'm still here, and I have a choice. Stay and coach you through this season while everyone watches and whispers, or resign. Protect my daughter from more embarrassment. Start over somewhere else. Tyler started to stand. I held up my hand. Let me finish, I said. I've spent the last 3 days questioning everything. This ring, this program, whether I have any business teaching you about character when I couldn't see betrayal happening in my own house. I looked at each of them. But you guys, you voted to keep me. 67-0. You taught me something I'd forgotten. I took off my championship ring, held it up. I thought this ring meant winning, championships, perfect seasons, perfect life. I shook my head. I was wrong. This ring means I showed up every day, even when it was hard, even when I failed, even when I didn't have all the answers. I showed up and I tried to do right by you. I put the ring back on. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm staying. I'm coaching this season. My wife is filing for divorce. The baby, I stopped, cleared my throat. The baby will be placed for adoption. My daughter and I are figuring out how to move forward, but I'm staying because champions don't quit on their team. I looked at Tyler. I used to think that meant staying in a bad marriage, grinding it out no matter what. I was wrong. Champions don't quit on their team, but you guys, you're my team. Amber is my team, and I won't quit on you. Tyler stood up. We're with you, coach, all the way. One by one, 67 boys stood up. I had to look away, blink hard. All right, I said. My voice was rough. Practice tomorrow, 6 a.m. We've got a season to win. Now get out of here. They filed out, slapping my shoulder as they passed, nodding. A few hugged me. When the locker room was empty except for Travis, I sat down on the bench. You good? Travis asked. Yeah, I said. I'm good. 3 days later was the first day of school. I stood in my empty classroom at 6:30 a.m., 25 desks, American history posters on the walls, the syllabus I'd printed last week before everything fell apart. Students would be arriving in 2 hours, including some of my players, including kids who'd seen the video, who'd heard the gossip, including Amber. I thought about my daughter. She'd spent last night trying on different outfits, debating whether to wear her cheerleading jacket, finally deciding yes. She'd earned that jacket, earned that captain spot. Her mother's choices wouldn't take that away. At 8:15, students started filing in. First period, Junior American History. 3 of my players were in this class. Tyler Bennett, Marcus Webb, Sarah Chen. Yeah, girls could play football in Kansas, and Sarah was our kicker. They sat in the front row, made eye contact, nodded. The rest of the students came in. Some looked at me curiously, some whispered. One girl in the back was definitely on her phone, probably texting friends. OMG, I have Coach Sawyer for history. The bell rang. I closed the door. Good morning, I said. I'm Coach Sawyer. Most of you know me from football. Some of you know me from... I paused. Recent events. Here's what you need to know about this class. We study American history. We learn from the past. We discuss hard topics. We respect each other. And we show up every day, even when it's hard. Tyler was nodding. Open your textbooks to page 12, I said. Let's talk about the Revolutionary War. We made it through first period, second period, third period. At lunch, I saw Amber in the hallway, surrounded by her cheer squad, wearing that red and white jacket with Sawyer embroidered on the back. She saw me, gave me a small smile. She was okay. We were okay. After school, I drove home, turned onto Maple Street, and stopped. My yard sign, the one that had been vandalized 3 days ago, was gone. In its place was a new sign, freshly painted, blue and gold letters, Proud Millbrook Football Family. And standing in my driveway were Tom Baker, Susan Chen, and the Hartley family. Holding paintbrushes, smiling, I got out of my truck. What? Someone spray painted your sign, Tom said. That's not how we do things in Millbrook, so we fixed it. Susan held up a can of paint. Fresh coat, good as new. Mr. Hartley nodded. Millbrook takes care of its own, Coach. You taught our kids that. We're teaching you. I couldn't speak, just nodded. Mrs. Hartley stepped forward, hugged me. We're with you, all of us. Friday night, that stadium's going to be packed, you'll see. They left. I stood there staring at that sign, hand-painted blue and gold. Proud Millbrook Football Family. Family. Not the one I'd been born into, not the one I'd married into, but the one that showed up with paintbrushes when someone tried to tear me down. I went inside, called Melissa's lawyer. We'd been negotiating through attorneys for 3 days. Tell her I'll sign. I said. Whatever term she wants for the divorce. I just want it done. Mr. Sawyer, you should fight for it. I'm not fighting, I interrupted. The baby will be placed for adoption. Open adoption if possible. Good family. I'll contribute to an education fund. But I want this done before the season starts. Understood, the lawyer said. 3 weeks. That's how long until our first game. 3 weeks of practice, of teaching, of showing up every single day while the town watched. And they were watching. Friday night, September 1st, game day. I arrived at the stadium at 5 p.m. Game started at 7. I needed time to think, to prepare, to breathe. The parking lot was already filling up. By 6:30, the stands were packed. Both sides, home and away. I looked out from the coach's box, 2,500 people, maybe more, capacity crowd, and on the home side in section C, I saw signs. We stand with Coach Sawyer. Integrity matters. Millbrook football family. My throat tightened. Travis came up beside me. Told you, this town's got your back. The team was in the locker room, getting ready. I could hear them through the walls, psyching each other up. At 6:50, I walked into the locker room. 67 boys in full gear, red and gold, Millbrook Lions. They went quiet when I entered. I looked at them. These young men, these kids I'd poured everything into for 2 years, 10 years for some of them. In about 5 minutes, we're going to walk out onto that field, I said, and there are 2,500 people in those stands. Most of them are here to support you. Some of them are here because they heard about what happened and they're curious. Some of them are here hoping we fail. I paused. But here's what I want you to remember. We play for each other. Not for the crowd, not for the gossip, not for anyone but the guys in this room. You understand? Yes, coach, they shouted. I picked up my whistle, put it to my lips, and blew. We walked out onto that field. The crowd erupted, cheering, chanting, Sawyer! 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 I kept my eyes forward, on my team, on what mattered. We won that game 28-21. When the final whistle blew, the crowd didn't just cheer. They chanted my name, not because I was perfect, not because my marriage survived, but because I'd stayed. After the game, Amber ran onto the field, still in her cheerleading uniform, hugged me. We did it, Dad, she said. Yeah, baby, I said. We did. The season continued, week after week, win after win, some close games, some blowouts, but we showed up. Every Friday night, Melissa moved to Oklahoma with Jake. I heard through the grapevine they were trying to make it work. I didn't care. The divorce was finalized in October. The baby was due in March. They'd found a family, good people, former students of mine who couldn't have kids of their own. Open adoption? The baby would know their story when they were old enough. Amber thrived. Senior year, cheer captain, honor roll, college applications. She was okay. We were okay. By November, we were undefeated, heading into the state championship game, championship weekend. Same stadium we'd won in last year. Different team, different circumstances. We won 35-28, our second consecutive state championship. When the final whistle blew, the team rushed the field, screaming, celebrating. Tyler was crying. Marcus was howling. The whole team dogpiled at the 50-yard line. I stood on the sidelines watching them. These kids, these young men who'd taught me more about loyalty and integrity than I'd ever taught them. The trophy presentation was on the field. TV cameras, reporters, fans flooding down from the stands. I accepted the trophy, held it up. The team cheered. Then I did something I'd never done before. I called Amber down from the stands. She looked confused. But she came, ran onto the field in jeans and a Millbrook hoodie. I took off my championship ring, the one from last year, the one I'd questioned, the one I'd almost thrown away, and I placed it on her finger. It was too big, slid around, but she closed her fist to keep it on. This ring, I said, loud enough for the team to hear, represents 10 years of work, baby, sweat, tears, sacrifice. Your mom tried to make it all seem fake, tried to take it away, but it wasn't fake. Every practice, every game, every kid I helped, that was real. I looked at her, my daughter, my real team. And you're the realest thing I ever did. This belongs to you now, because champions don't quit on what matters, and you're what matters, always were. Amber was crying. She threw her arms around me. The crowd was cheering. The team was cheering. Tyler came over, slapped my back. That's beautiful, coach. I looked at my team, at the trophy, at the new defensive coordinator we'd hired. Good guy, older, respected. At Travis standing off to the side, grinning. At the crowd. 3,000 people who'd shown up not just for football, but for something bigger. All right, I yelled. Team photo, everyone get in here. We gathered at midfield, 67 players, 3 coaches. Amber in the middle, holding the trophy. The championship ring on her finger. The photographer counted down. 3, 2, 1, click. A new photo, a new chapter, the same program, but changed, refined by fire. Ryan and Amber redefined what family means that day. Not who you're born to, not who you marry, but who shows up when everything falls apart. Who holds your hand when the whole town is watching. Who reminds you who you really are when you've forgotten. If you've built your own chosen family, the people who showed up when biology or marriage failed, tell me about them in the comments. I want to hear those stories. And if this story moved you, if Ryan's choice to stay and face the truth resonated, hit subscribe. I tell stories about finding strength when everything crumbles, about ordinary people making extraordinary choices. I'll see you in the next one. Later that night, after the celebration, after the media interviews, after the team had gone home, I sat in my truck in the empty stadium parking lot. The championship trophy was in the passenger seat, the new one. 2025 state champions. My phone buzzed, a text from Amber. Thank you for the ring, Dad. I'll take care of it. Love you. I smiled, texted back. Love you too, baby. Sleep well. I looked at my left hand. No ring there now. Just a tan line where it used to be. But that was okay, because I'd learned something over these past few months. Championships aren't about perfect lives or perfect families or perfect anything. Championships are about showing up every day, even when you're broken, even when you don't have answers, even when the whole town is watching. Teaching 67 boys that integrity means telling the truth even when it costs you everything. Teaching your daughter that she doesn't have to carry her mother's mistakes. Teaching yourself that you're not defined by betrayal. You're defined by how you respond to it. I started the truck, drove home, the house on Maple Street, the yard sign glowing under the streetlight, proud Millbrook football family. I was proud too, not because I'd won, not because I'd survived, but because I'd stayed. And in the end, that's what mattered most. Champions don't quit on their team. I'd said that phrase 1,000 times over 10 years, painted it on locker room walls, made it our motto, but I finally understood what it really meant. My team wasn't a marriage that had already ended. My team wasn't a perfect image for the town to admire. My team was 67 boys who needed to see a man tell the truth and keep going. My team was a daughter who needed to know her worth wasn't tied to her mother's choices. My team was a town that showed up with paintbrushes and signs and loyalty when I needed it most. That was my team, and I'd never quit on them. I pulled into my driveway, turned off the engine, sat in the quiet. Tomorrow, practice started for next season, 6 a.m. The cycle would begin again. New players, new challenges, new lessons. But tonight, I just sat there with my championship trophy and my daughter's text message and the ring-shaped tan line on my finger. And for the first time in months, I felt something I hadn't felt since that FedEx envelope arrived at the gender reveal party. Peace. Not happiness, not closure, not healed. Just peace. The kind that comes from knowing you did the right thing even when it cost you everything. The kind that comes from knowing your daughter is okay. The kind that comes from knowing 67 boys saw you fall apart and chose to stand with you anyway. I got out of the truck, Grabbed the trophy, walked to my front door. Inside, I set the trophy on the mantle, right next to last year's. 2 championships, 2 completely different stories. I made coffee, sat at the kitchen table, opened my playbook, the new one, clean pages, no notes from anyone but me. Started planning for next season, because that's what you do. You show up, you do the work, you take care of your team, and you never, ever quit on what really matters. Outside, the yard sign swayed slightly in the night breeze. Proud Millbrook football family. Yeah, I was proud too.